Hi guys, Iron Cameraman here. As promised, I asked 10 questions to Dafuk, and believe me, the answers will surprise you. They will shed light not only on the past, but also on the future of the series, so subscribe so you won't miss the next similar videos. Write in the comments what question you would ask to DafuqBoom, and be sure to watch till the end so you won't miss anything interesting. Anyway, here we go. We'd like to start with the questions that Dafuk didn't give a clear answer to, but even from them there are some interesting conclusions. You probably remember the moment from episode 66 when the secret agent sent a fake with the defeated Titans, or not? If you watch this moment frame by frame, you can see that the secret agent's message appears and disappears on top of the fake, and it is heavily distorted by interference, although we saw a similar message to the big cameraman in the next episode, episode 67, and it was clear. Therefore, the fake was sent by the scientist, and the message sent in haste on top of it by the secret agent. However, it is extremely difficult to read exactly what it says. Dafuk recently replied to Russian YouTuber that there are important plot points in the show that we, the dissemblers, haven't paid attention to. I thought this was one of them. So I asked Dafuk the following question. In episode 66, POV Cameraman received a message with a picture of the killed Titans, but before that we saw a picture of secret agent and unreadable text. What did it write? Some people after episode 66 assumed it said something like, "The Titans need your help." But judging by how many times some of the TV men's lines were misinterpreted when Dafuk wasn't yet adding subtitles to the episode, that phrase could also have been misread, which is why I decided to clarify it, to which Dafuk responded with his index finger. Thankfully, this is the only such response. But what does it mean? Dafuk himself often uses such a gesture in his animation. It was seen in TV and Cameraman Titans in 69th, and it is used to mean no. So in relation to my question, it means that we are not supposed to know the content of that message. But why? Come to think of it, even in the short of the same episode, Dafuk added a real threat message to the screen above the hangar, and also cut out the secret agent message on the tablet. Could Dafuk have simply cut a moment of importance to the plot in the series? I doubt it. However, in the season, we saw the absence of the message on the screen midway through the episode and the presence of the message on the tablet. Why? The fact is that Dafuk simply used a full screen episode for the season, which is why it was left unchanged by the shorts. So what does all of this suggest? And that the secret agent wanted to warn the agents either about the fake or that the scientist was about to teleport in with reinforcements and they'd all better get out. In both cases, the text of the message doesn't matter that much to us as viewers. The real threat message, on the other hand, has two interpretations. One, it's about reinforcing the Skibidi Toilets. The second, it's about TV Titan 2.0, a real threat only no longer to the agents but to the Skibidi Toilets. However, I wouldn't completely rule out the possibility that Dafuk will return to this point later, in the detective's arc taking the cameraman in red into custody. He'd have to have a good reason to do so, such as suspicious footage, of which the moment with the tablet is one. It is also interesting on what principle the secret agent recruits agents to its ranks. We've already seen Lucky Cameraman and the twins among them. Are there any TV men or speaker men among them? Or maybe even PC men? One of them, the speaker man in green we saw recently, on the tablet of the big cameraman in 76. If you had any doubts about the color of his costume because of the dark lighting, in brighter light, you can see him in 74 just before Titan's speaker man begins to dance. Then I asked Dafuk the following question. Is secret agent cooperating with someone we haven't seen yet? If so, who is it? Human? Alliance agent? Skibidi Toilets? Astro Toilets? If you've been watching your theories, you know that in fact the secret agent, by the hands of humans, created the alliance to counter the Astro's threat. If that's the case, it's surprising that we've only seen him collaborate with 3 agents in the entire series. To this, Dafuk replied, too early. Since Dafuk didn't answer no, it means that we'll see more of his agents in the future. We already know from his picture from the 70s that he cooperated with the government, hence his agents were or still are among the people. We saw them among the cameramen, saw the speaker man in green, just like the twins, seen, presumably, a PC man with parasitically similar abilities or technology, invisibility, hacking, judging by the first open and then closed door behind him, and possibly teleportation, since he then disappeared without a trace. This also means that anyone who cooperates with the secret agent can use his abilities on their own or with his help. The only ones we haven't seen are the TV men cooperating with him. However, we also didn't see the secret agent cooperating with the scientist until the last moment either. Speaking of cooperation, what about G-man and the Alliance? We saw in Part 1 of 77 how reluctant the agents were to team up with the G-Squad. However, G-man himself wasn't around with them. Why? We saw G-man arrive at the rendezvous point in 74 completely unarmed, dragging himself along the ground as even the energy in the core ran out. So it was still being repaired or upgraded, and since the Skibidi Toilets are now friends with the Alliance, I asked, since Skibidi Toilets are now friends with Alliance, can we expect them to work together? For example, they could combine their knowledge to create a new Titan or improve an existing Titan. A similar thing has already happened in the series. Then the Speakerman Titan was improved by the Skibidi Toilets. Stolen Alliance designs have also long been used by the Skibidi Toilets, including speakers, televisions, and cameras. However, not to the fullest extent, as there are no trophies to be had from agents defeated on the battlefield. So many Skibidi Toilets are poorly equipped and have wasted their resources and fighters against the Alliance. So what is Dafuq's answer to this question? Possibly. But what follows from it? First, this alliance will no longer be localized, but widespread, as we saw from the 75th through the first part of the 77th, not only the agents' confusion, but also their willingness to open fire on their new allies, the Skibidi Toilets. Secondly, the Skibidi Toilets, who have lost their main base, Alpha Hills, will not only be able to take refuge in the agents' bases, but will also have the technology and resources to upgrade. And it works both ways. The agents will be able to arm themselves with acid, for example. Third, a joint effort between the Skibidi Toilets and the Alliance could complete the G-Man upgrade to Titan. But would all Alliance factions go for it? We've seen the TV men's disdain for their own before, not to mention the Skibidi Toilets, and their Titan tried to kill their leader, G-Man, to the last. The conflict between the cameramen and the TV men escalated even more in 76. Then I asked Dafuq, in an additional scene in Season 24, TV man Titan let us know that he's unlikely to be friends with G-Man. So amid the Alliance's massive union with the Skibidi Toilets, viewers were curious. How would the TV man react to this? And would he change his mind to also join the Alliance and give G-Man a chance? If not for the scientist, back in 74 he would have teleported and killed G-Man. But would he contain his anger since the TV Titan wouldn't even listen to G-Man in Season 24? Dafuq replied, "It might take extreme measures." What does that mean? If you think about it, a conflict involving not only the TV men, but their Titan as well, could lead to the secession of this already uninvolved faction, of the Alliance. Not only were they the last to join, but they often abandoned other agents, for example in episodes 56 and 76. In such a case, the TV men could not only abandon dozens, if not hundreds of agents without teleport evacuation, but also fail to support at a crucial moment for the entire Alliance and the Skibidi Toilets, when Astro Toilet could be retaliated against. Without the TV Titan's teleport, Speakerman could get surrounded and even killed, which almost happened in episode 74. The TV men may hope that they will be able to escape alone as long as the location of their base is unknown to the enemy, and their Titan and agents can teleport out of any dangerous situation. But sooner or later, the Astros will find a breach in their defenses, and then even the TV men will fall. The cameramen, speakermen, and Skibidi Toilets must realize this, and therefore will indeed go to any lengths to face this threat together, or else they will be defeated individually. However, if the Astros are so strong, why wait until episode 74? If they had sent the main force to Earth before the many improvements to the Alliance and their Titans, they would have defeated the enemy without a chance. We've already seen the presence of their main scout on Earth since episode 53. the UFO. Then Astro Toilet, together with Skibidi Toilets for the first time, attacked the Cameraman's base with large forces. However, Titan Cameraman 2.0, who returned from a long upgrade, managed to successfully counterattack, after which an attempt was made to take control of him as Titan Speakerman. However, the whole plan of G-man worked exactly the opposite, and Titan Speakerman was returned to the ranks of the Alliance. Then the UFO and the Astro Scorpion first tried to kill the then-fake G-man for his failures in episodes 20, 47, and 57, because they didn't need him anymore. But thanks to the scientists' intervention, they retreated, tucking their tails, and it just so happened that almost immediately after the scientists' death, the Astros attacked Earth with their main forces, so I asked Dafuk. Before the death of scientists, Astro Toilets were slow to attack Skibidi Toilets en masse. Did the scientist have some secret information that deterred Astro Toilets from attacking, or was he simply respected? If it wasn't the scientist, why was episode 70 the turning point for the Astros? We saw some kind of document in episode 70 that showed a scientist with red eyes and a halo behind him while still being an Astro. Is it possible that there was a peace treaty between the Astro and the scientist, whereby they, G-man and scientist, would be given amnesty for their treachery if they took over Earth for the Astro, which is why they haven't attacked either the Astro Toilets or the Alliance until now? Dafuk's answer doesn't confirm, but it doesn't disprove the theory either. Astros take time to analyze the situation. They don't know how strong the Alliance is and where it's hiding. They have a plan, though. What does that mean? Like I said, the UFO was one of the first to arrive to scout the battlefield and plan the next attack. In order for it to be effective, i.e. to be one crushing blow for the Alliance and the conflict not to drag on as it was with the Astro Toilets, they needed to know the enemy's weaponry, which, by the way, we see in the 74th when the UFO uses goggles and headphones, which the Astro Toilets would not have had if they had attacked at once. The same goes for numbers, so as not to send more troops to Earth than necessary. Also, the location of bases, left without which the enemy will lose eyes and resources for further fighting. And of course, the Titans, the main fighting force of the Alliance, capable of fighting dozens, if not hundreds of Astros. Probably to find out all this and were sent traitors to Earth, such as G-man, Scientist, and others. They were supposed to discover the enemy's weaknesses or crush them themselves, but instead they only strengthened the Alliance. When their defeat became obvious after the storming of the main base, Alpha Hills, in the 23rd season the UFO could have reported about it, as we saw him talking to someone. After that, Astro, in a few episodes, already prepared to face the Alliance as much as possible, flew to Earth and attacked, and first of all it was the Titans, which proves the fact of their intelligence and preparation throughout the series. As for the plan mentioned in the answer, it was also spoken about by the UFO with the Duchess. Apparently, knowing that the Alliance had previously given a long repulse to the Skibidi Toilets, they also planned a strategy in case, for example, it would not be possible to immediately get rid of the main force of the Alliance, the Titans, which eventually happened. This was done, apparently, in order not to lose significant Astro's forces in the course of the conflict. This can be seen in the Earth Toilets, as evidenced by the corresponding marks on their temples. Apparently, the Astro Toilets are not destroying all the Skibidi Toilets, but some are being controlled by collars and then upgraded to Astro, as they have red eyes. We've seen this sort of thing before from Skibidi Toilets with parasites, and it's possible the Astros have adopted their tactics, or vice versa. Either way, the Astros are trying to minimize casualties. But what could that have to do with? Why don't they just send 1 million Astros to Earth, unambiguously thus invading? To find out, I asked Dafuk, how many planets have the Astro Toilets already taken over? To which he replied, many. This means that there are many planets under Astro's control, and therefore leaving them without cover sent to Earth for a long enough period of time would leave them vulnerable to capture not only by the allies of these worlds, whom Astro would inevitably encounter in the course of their expansion, but also by the indigenous populations of these planets, who resist capture similarly to the Alliance on Earth. Therefore, the Astros are forced to guard each of the captured worlds. because everyone who knows about them realizes that their world may become the next, and therefore unites with others against the Astros and will attack them as soon as the opportunity arises in order to eliminate this threat once and for all. Thus, they are facing not only Earth, but dozens, if not hundreds of other worlds, which in the future may send their forces to Earth as well. But since the Astros have so many captured worlds, doesn't it mean that they themselves should be so many to send any huge army to the Earth? So, I asked Dafuk. We saw in episode 77 that the Astro toilets ruthlessly killed people and didn't even try to infect them like the Skibidi toilets do. So, this begs the question, how do Astro toilets reproduce? We have also seen that the Skibidi toilets were also destroyed by the Astro toilets, however, not all of them. Some of them became Astro slaves. In essence, cannon fodder. The question then arises as to why they don't make everyone like the Skibidi toilets human beings. Dafuk's answer is as follows. Astro toilets don't care about people. So, Astro toilets are not taking over planets to replenish their numbers by infestation like the Skibidi toilets. It also means that they are not interested in humans even as slaves. In that case, such a highly advanced civilization would, as I suggested in your theory, use either cloning or grow new Astros artificially. In the first case, we would observe identical fighters, however we have yet to see two identical Astros. That leaves the second option. But then, why don't they grow as many Astros as they want? It may take much longer than we realize. First, Astros have superhuman survivability, and even the ability to fire lasers from their eyes and mouths, so it may take much longer to fully develop from zero to birth compared to human life. Secondly, we see predominantly huge Astros, however, we have not seen the technology to allow them to increase in size. It is possible that a single large Astro toilet could grow from the size of a normal Skibidi toilet to a G-man in tens, if not hundreds of years. That's why they can't afford to take heavy casualties in battle, nor do they have an army capable of taking over an entire planet, even one less advanced than their own, in a matter of hours. Again, this explains why they use even traitors like G-man and the Scientist for their own purposes, rather than just executing them. By the way, you're probably wondering what exactly the UFO discussed with fake G-man before unsuccessfully trying to get rid of him, which is why I asked Dafuk the relevant question, what did Astro, UFO, and fake G-man talk about in episode 60? And, since I've already speculated in another question on the subject, here's his answer. Episode 79 will unlock something that reveals a lot of information. That definitely sounds intriguing. We first learned something about episode 79, right after which the next most interesting episode, according to Dafuk, is episode 80. Given that this answer refers to the conversation between the UFO and the fake G-man, it's likely that we'll again see a moment that resembles a photo of the Astro Scientist or G-man himself. But what could it be? The most obvious option is that we learn from G-man's dialogue with the Astro, or from telling the Alliance the reason for his betrayal and subsequent arrival on Earth, as well as what they didn't know about the Astros, such as why they wanted Earth. This would be a logical continuation of his story arc, revealing the past as an Astro and the future as an Alliance ally against their own. But how strong would that alliance be, considering how many agents the Skibidi toilets, including G-man, have killed, and how many people have been irreversibly infected, or not? We know from 74 that you don't even need a Skibidi toilet to infect a person. Their voice with a song is enough. But if it is so easy to infect a person, it should not be difficult to reverse the process either, especially with the same method, sound. So the next question is it possible to make Skibidi toilet human again? If so, are the speakermans capable of doing this since the Skibidi toilets are infected by the sound? I mean, it sounds really logical. You drive a wedge with a wedge, right? The answer will surprise you. After the transformation, you can evolve into something better. The first conclusion that follows from this is that the contamination is irreversible. Second, Skibidi toilets can evolve, but into what? The first option is mutants. We've seen that, compared to normal Skibidi toilets, they don't just throw themselves head-on at the enemy, but use cover and retreat. They are also capable of speaking English, so their cognitive abilities are as good as humans. We see the same with Astros, complete with lasers and superhuman survivability. Thus, this evolution can be artificially accomplished and has several stages of development, and it is far from certain that the Astros we have seen are the last of them. Just imagine beings as superior to them as Astros are superior to humans. This evolution can also lead to different results. Mutants, for example, are closer to humans because they have bodies, while Astros are closer to Skibidi Toilets. I wonder if a mutant could evolve further, and what changes that would lead to. Speaking of changes, we all remember the 73rd episode when Camerawoman, watching the plunger's footage, got to the 85th year footage. You already know the theory that Katie is the Camerawoman, Dave is the plunger, the scientist on the left is the cameraman scientist, the plunger's comrade. Only the fourth person was unknown, so I asked Dafuk, well, and the most important question of today's interview, who is the fourth person in Camerawoman's flashback? Throughout the series, we've seen many scientists, but none with white bottoms and black tops. Why? Because, according to the answer, another scientist, Cameraman, died in episode 35. There he is, right in front of you, the creator of the anti-parasitic cannon. Like a true hero, he shot straight into the core of infected Speakerman Titan and then sacrificed himself by passing on the invention that saved dozens, if not hundreds, of agents. He fearlessly drew the fire back on himself so that others might live. Not just a robot, but a man with a big heart in every sense of the word, as we finally get confirmation from Boom himself that all the agents were indeed human. This explains both the bleeding when wounded and their humanity, especially their grief for their irreplaceable fallen comrades. It's now clear why this development was conducted in complete secrecy and where all the people who didn't become Skibidi Toilets are everywhere. We see them in every episode. Just think of how many agents have fallen protecting the few survivors in all this chaos. Put like to our heroes, write in the comments what question you would ask DafuqBoom, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Bye-bye, friends.